most Sandpaper Boruto chapter review. It's been a while. In fact, it's coming close to chapter 57, in which a lot of things with the Boruto manga is coming out even more. The thing in chapter 56 is a bit more in depth. That take an extra amount of time. Had to revise, do a bit more on in terms of taking my time, take on the episodes to pretty much revise my thoughts and to say a bit more intricately and better, or just procrastinating, which is not really the case, but just for the sake of the in fact, check out my Twitch if you don't know what's going on there. I already reviewed technically things. Yes, it's been a while since I posted, but thankfully I've been able to post a review for you. And yeah, we're here for Chapter 56 review. So I'm gonna get this out of the way. Chapter 56 will have to be a very good 8 out of 10 reviewing episode in terms of showing off the new villain, the past game for the new season for Boruto, everything that comes along with it, along with the political side of it of how Boruto is now after winning to Sasuke, and also what happened to Naruto, and what does that do in the Naruto world? What does this produce that they're now actually nerfed by someone who's surprisingly stronger than them, and how the fans should react, or how I reacted. And I was like, okay, this was expected. He should have nerfed a long time ago by Mother who I wish I lived in. You creating the story kicked up Mother through Black Zetsu, and you can say that Kaya, even though she has um, uh, empowered Roshi really strong on amp that gives her relative knowledge to knowing everything of the entire world, which what Ishii said. The world, eat divine tree. But the problem is, if Cole goes from world to world, he won't have the relative power of someone in comparison to someone to the Tsuki that has eaten a divine tree. After that, ten tails of it has eaten an Atsuki. Um, that's why they feel embarrassed that the weaker one, such as Kage and Kinshiki, were to be eaten by their superiors. So, in terms of what has gone by, I'm not going bait by bait, but first I'm gonna get my point out of straight class, which is having code as stronger than Ishiki is a nice revised backup, or just a very good it's a very good way it's a very good way to have a backup in terms of to replace Jigen, or it's a very nice way to have a new villain straight off the jump, or it's a nice twist. Excuse me. I mean, if you've seen chapter Boruto episode one, if you've seen Boruto episode one, 80, 80, 84, which I'll get to pretty soon, is that you will notice that it's shown that there's two. The manga goes in more depth of Amado saying that there were only two who survived, and there have been theories brushing around, which is more so reasonable explanation that Code is a Uzumaki. That's why he was able to survive and get a weakened karma, even though that karma wasn't relative to holding Jigen's soul, like Boruto can hold that Boruto can hold Moshiki's soul through the karma. Mirakaki is able to hold a substantial amount of it after being experimented on, from how the manga explained it and also how the anime explained it. Even though in terms of the manga, I haven't really jumped into past into chapter 30, 2022. I've mainly been able to do them in chapter 48, and with what's been shown also with the anime, it's the fact that Kaki was experimenting on along with Code. Code got a not a fully sophisticated one, but one that grew with Code's body to make him much stronger. And then eventually, Jigen did the same thing with a couple other bots. They didn't fully have it physically, but were able to grow sophistically much stronger than Jigen, not Ishiki. Now you guys, how would you know it's just Jigen, not Ishiki? The thing is Ishiki, given given Jigen a substantial amount of his power through the through the karma, was enough to, well, one shot Naruto and Sasuke, which really should be a surprise because this is a being above the divine tree Kaguya made, which means the ancestors of the divine tree, ranging from Agromo and the sickle sage past reincarnate sons, down to Naruto and Sasuke, ranging from Madara Hashima, blah 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 blah, are very much so weaker. The power scaling question I would have for Tokyo Parrot, or a question for the standard in general, is how can Naruto's soul be reincarnated soul, which is way weaker than even Jigen, so it should be way weaker than Nishiki. So at that point, why is Naruto's burning soul strong enough to to contend with an Atsuki soul that one shot him, would that almost was about to kill him. Now, yes, in terms of when I took it out of context, I explained, if seen my previous chapter 1 review, which was last year, was how was how in terms of how they would like the story to go, to make Naruto's power relative. Now I'm trying to ask, how is it possible? Even though it's through the story they'll make it, but at the same time, if it comes back to the power thing, you're like, wait, yeah, the story will make it, but how does that make any sense? It's like saying that a half divine tree is power relative to someone's soul, blah, what is empowered chakra through reincarnation is relative to someone's else's soul. Yes, this ability was able to weaken Ishiki, was able to bringing them to the point that even though Ishiki was able to almost rip out Naruto's Sasuke's heart, even if he still could have done that effortlessly, it's just the point that he was just delaying it to bring out Clock. Even though in terms of the story, it would have been better to have at least Sasuke die, which was more alluding towards, instead of just having them drawn out. Because now some fans will get a sour taste after Kurama's death. Things I like Kurama things better than Naruto. This is a growing opportunity for her to grow from the Naruto we know all know him as to something 10 times better. Now Naruto knows, again, your pain, he lost a part of himself in comparison to him losing Jirai, him losing Neji. Problem is, yes, he had his family to keep him together. It just shows that he hasn't truly lost everybody. Even though, even, even though, even though there are other threats out there that are more relative to being way stronger than him, one Earth's divine truth, but that's just me in terms of scaling, which I'll get into much deeper of how a single divine tree is scaled towards, and how a fully developed one is scaled towards. I'm not really, even though there is no books on it, but I do have a very good idea in terms of how the manga and the anime and some books explain it. Even though Momoshiki's absorption power is relative towards an entire nebula, which is mad. But then you ask, then why do you lose to Naruto and Sasuke, who is only relative towards planetary? I'll get into that too, because I'm also gonna read up a bit more in terms of that. So you'll get your info a lot more clarified, and not from me taken from one of my boys, which I do get some of my thoughts more clarified. But then you want mine, not this. But anyway, in terms of the story and what has transpired, you get to see Code's abilities, which obviously surpass Jigen's, and since this is now his karma, no longer Jigen's, it'll be not it won't be a surprise if Code has some of Jigen's abilities, from the Adam dimension warping ability, all the way to a couple other abilities that he can summon bricks from other worlds that can siphon out as Naruto's chakra, or shield it. Even though in a near death state, Naruto was able to catch them and to nerf Ishiki at that point. Even though it's kind of weird to say it, even though I said it, so I have to stand by my point and to clarify why. But but also but also at the same time, I'm also asking, how is that possible? I mean, if Jigen in a weakened state was able to nearly kill Naruto Sasuke, why in a stronger state is he weakened? If you if you if you get what I'm saying, yes, I said the story would make him weaken, but with that power scale, you just kind of leave it to the win. I mean, nice joke there. But anyway, but but anyway, in terms of what's happened, Boruto is now, well, the Northern Shikamaru had to cover it up of wow coming to Sasuke, even though the word doesn't really pay attention to Sasuke because it's Sasuke. Even though Sasuke has done all this Shadow Hokage work, it's Shadow Hokage work that they won't know. So them know about Kawaki that what doesn't know yet about Kawaki. Only the Kage does. If you've seen my previous episode review. Also, since since Naruto had to cover it all up, they had to make Boruto the hero of of it in terms of how the news were all manipulated into thinking of that. And Boruto obviously being the person that he knows what he did to Sasuke and it's helping cover up so Sasuke won't be leaked out and ultimately Boruto's secret of him on the karma of him being in Tsutsuki's vessel, a fully holder of it. They had to mix it up and just cover it all up in terms of meat and all that. So it's very interesting to see how the political side of it works. It's very interesting. I like it. Team Season can go in missions, and also Shigai's team is really effective fighters. Understanding that Boruto is kind of in a bad situation. So Kwaki comes up with with this idea. After Boruto excellently flick up his hand there, and someone almost notices his karma, even though he knows it first. It's the idea to give code the karma. Now, someone posted a comment saying that it's not really it's not really a good idea because an extra karma seal will just empower code. But one thing I think that what that my Don is not taking into consideration is that well since Momoshiki's karma power, Atsuki power through through the karma seal, and also through Momoshiki's empowered soul, in order to do that, even if you were to give war to even if you were to give the fully empowered karma seal to Code, you have to give up Boruto's soul, which is now siphoned into Momoshiki's soul, even though it's not really clarified of how Momoshiki's soul is able to be siphoned into Morto's soul. Like that one isn't really clarified, even though Kawaki with that his soul is siphoned into Ishiki's. And once again, it's kind of weird to say, well, what about souls? Like, is Naruto's soul strong enough to suck away Ishiki's soul that they both die at the same time? Even though yes, Ishiki died thanks to Pocket outsmarting him, but there's so many that both said yes, Crockett gets the dub, but there's so many things that go into it, such as how can a Carvarian division still be relative enough to hold off and Atsuki's fully powered back guy that surpasses Neji's and 80 Hyugas. Yes, he's in a near death state, but he was strong enough to absorb, strong enough to um, rip out Naruto and Sasuke and to punch out Kurama, even though Kurama was the one, Kurama's very own chakra was the one siphoning out Ishiki's. So yes, I guess it's the whole thing of soul. So we're gonna say that it's a suicide attempt, and not that Naruto's soul is strong enough, but it's a soul absorption nucleus bomb technique that we can just go off with it. I mean, that's if the Boruto will go into a bit more into souls in terms of the Tsuki King, the Tsuki souls, and all that because they're celestial beings, and Naruto is a reincarnation of a reincarnation of a reincarnation of like 3 decades of it or 3 centuries of it. Anyway, so we get to see we get to see Code's abilities in display after Kawaki explains again of what of the two survived Ishiki's Jigen's ritual, quote unquote. But the thing is that Code has something relative to Mito's in terms of how the fight between Code, Ida versus Sasuke is, regardless of how smart Sasuke is, regardless of how he was able to fend off Borishiki, even though Borishiki was holding back, and Sasuke is also injured, even though he no longer has the chocolate consumption problem. Thing is, Sasuke has to be a bit more cautious and has to take more John Constantine routes because he's going against beings that will rip him to pieces a lot more faster than Jigen would. So in this case, Ida, who's now a bot that knows everything on Earth to the point that yes, it's relative to a divine tree which can give its Atsuki user knowledge of the entire Earth. So you can say they're Earth omnipotent in terms of Earth knowledge or omniscient. But in terms of that, Ida and Code will rip Sasuke to pieces, or in terms of how the story will go, they will give Sasuke a subtle chance. But since they they mean to do a pair have taking this time to make someone clearly stronger than how Jigen is, because Jigen kind of just fatherized Naruto Sasuke. That's that's true. However, Naruto Sasuke is not nerfed. Yes, plenty other main character abilities or overpowered abilities obviously don't work on someone that is very stronger. I don't know why this is a surprise. Maybe we maybe we meaning the fandom have been thinking for a while. Things I knew this all along ever since I started too passionate and to pay attention or joke about paying attention. But 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 anyway, in terms of what of how it's finalized, how Code took these followers show me out. The thing is, I like to have a fair battle with Sasuke. I want them, unlike how they did with Krama, because yes, Krama died loud, like it was emotional for most people, not for me. Thing is, I would like for them to have a bit more respect to the characters. Yes, I just like Naruto. I like his ideology. I think if Naruto won, I wouldn't care. But even for the people who care for Naruto, put in some emotion. Don't overdo it, cause 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 thing is, if it just thing is, if you kick away a character, because I understand the importance of a character for the purpose of the story, blah, 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 blah. If you kick away Sasuke and Naruto like you showed Chroma off, people like us are gonna be like, bro. Thing is, I don't care about Naruto. Sasuke, I'll be like, that's weird. But then in terms of the character, and yes, it may seem that why do you want Naruto to be sent properly off? Thing is, as much as I disagree with him, character-wise, he is there for the story, and I'm just like, yeah, you guys send the character off in terms of the story, in terms of how the fandom would say goodbye. Yes, they will lose to Code and Neda. I don't like it, but Naruto's like, what is deal with them? No, you will not. If you can kind of rip you off first time, I'm pretty confident someone who's stronger than him will tear you to pieces. To end this segment, even though it was a bit more quicker, a lot more on point in terms of what a lot of things were to be said in terms of now someone is stronger than Jigen. The problem is we want more to Jigen and Ishiki. I like the ideology of the Utsuki being world eaters, world conquerors like the Dark Side or anyone else in Marvel vs. Thanos. Things I like there to be a bit more. But however, you can. I have a feeling that you can use something like that, just like how Darkseid is, who wants to conquer everything, and he makes an entire Injustice series on it. For that, you can carry an entire series on it back in terms of them being world conquerors, of how they never stopped until they conquered everything to become gods, how Ishiki said, and how the Jogan no Puri is influenced it to have let's say entire universe, blah 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 blah. I'll get into more of that more into the next Atsuki video. But you can, but sometimes the substance will wear out because yes, conquering, but why? Yes, you are world eager to come in and potentially an omnipotent being, but go is there has to be more to it instead of the bland conqueror, which can work, but at the same time, this is just the people who are indicating touching a world conquering being. The question is, we want to see a bit more. It can carry itself, but for how long? It's entertaining, but at the same time, there's gonna be more behind it. We don't want something over emotional. We want something very simple to how the story would connect. Now, yes, you could say Ishiki or Jigen is connected to being a world politician in well a Tsuki politician who strives to the top like Etrigan and fell at and fell to grace with the leaders in terms of these comics. In in for that note, there has been a bit more clarification in terms of the Tsuki. Yes, they're a lot better than how Deepa is explained and Deepa got kicked away because these are characters who are now shit in the eyes of ideology in terms of what they stand for. I can just say that I like Deepa, I just blah 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 blah. I like their personality, but there is no base to each and one of these characters from Deepa, Urashiki, and the new villains from Mitsuki. This is why this series is getting the hate of terms of villains. I love the villains of of Naruto. Not all of them, because Obito was failed terribly. Madara was Madara, and Sasuke is just being there just to see how this will all unfold. But anyway, it's been your boy Sim. Check out my Discord, check out my Twitch. I was chaos wherever I go. Peace out.